Andrew K P Leung, who joins us from Hong Kong. Andrew is an independent China strategist. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. How much risk are the protesters taking, do we think?
Well, first of all, I apologize because this interview was arranged in a hurry, so I'm in a public place. Now, the so-called zero COVID policy is not to achieve absolute zero, but to ensure early detection, early isolation, early prevention, and early treatment. And initially, it had won a huge support from the people because as recently as January this year, according to the New York-based Edelman Trust Barometer, China was the best government, best trusted by its people on containing the pandemic. But now, after almost 3 years, patience is beginning to wear thin. And then there are lots of other social frustrations. And then you can see these protests spreading across the country, not only in Shanghai, but in Beijing, Chengdu. And then many are waving white pieces of paper and also chanting provocative slogans reminiscent of the so-called color revolution in other countries, and also what happened to Hong Kong a couple of years ago. And I think that this sends a very clear signal to Beijing, and I hope that Beijing would, I expect Beijing would actually respond, hopefully sagaciously.
Yeah, I mean, the white piece of paper that you're referring to, they don't have any slogans on them, and that's exactly the point. People are saying that we can't write how we feel because we're not allowed to. So the white piece of paper is a symbol in itself. We could discuss the medical merits or otherwise of zero COVID, but the question has now become almost a political one, hasn't it, as you're clearly indicating. And you think that Beijing, the government, is going to react positively, but there's also the question of the continuing risk that protesters are taking, of course.
Well, this comes at a time also when China's now being demonized and being sort of pushed back across the globe with the United States and with Canada and the so-called Five Alliance, and then holding up China as an authoritarian regime. And so there is a lot of political sensitivities involved in these protests. And I do expect that because the fact speaks on the ground, and then all these images are spreading across the world. So I would expect that Beijing would respond, hopefully sagaciously.
Andrew Leung, thank you very much indeed, as always, and thanks for agreeing at short notice to speak to us.